Hey, welcome to another episode of Clear Light Connections, where we talk to the people behind the businesses and brands of Bay Area Houston. Proudly sponsored by UTMB Health. Special guest today, Dave Whitlock, and you are with Jacobs, and you have a very, very long title. What is that exactly?
It is the Director of Performance, External Pursuits and Integration Office. So it's one of the offices that looks at our contract performance, external pursuits for additional business outside of our NASA contract, and integration across several organizations within Jacobs.
Okay. How long have you been with Jacobs?
I've been with Jacobs proper since 2009, so that'd be about coming up on 13 years. Before that, I was with one of our teammate companies. It's an integrated team of Jacobs and subcontractors, and I transitioned to Jacobs when I took a management role.
Now, you are a local. You grew up in the Bay Area, you went to school in the Bay Area, and you came back as fast as you could.
Yeah, maybe not quite as fast as I could, but yes, grew up, moved here when I was 6 years old. So right when I started kindergarten, actually finished kindergarten year, started first grade, and spent my entire schoolboy career in the Clear Creek Independent School District at Ed White and Seabrook and Clear Lake High School. And then I went off to school, took a first job for about 10 or 12 years, and then came back about 2003, 2004 timeframe to take a full-time position here supporting Johnson Space Center with my aerospace degree.
And so you always knew you wanted to be in aerospace growing up in this area?
I think so. It was one of those things that you just around it all the time. I was good at math, good at engineering type skills, and just seemed to be a natural fit. It's what I enjoyed most in school was the engineering, math, science classes, not as much the English, humanities, that sort of thing. So it seemed to be a natural draw with all the great colleges around here. It seemed a good decision to get the aerospace degree and come support the program here.
So tell me a little more about Jacobs. It's obviously a multinational giant corporation, but somehow you guys and you know, between you and Glenn and some of the other folks that I've met through, you guys seem to make it feel like you guys are really a part of the community. And you forget that it's this big giant corporation. And tell me about that. Is that purposeful? How does that come about?
Sure. So Jacobs is a Fortune 500 company, does a lot of business really in the buildings and infrastructure side, as well as the information technology and government sector as well. So providing solution services for those type industries. And it's evolved a lot in the last even 5 to 10 years. It used to be a classical engineering aerospace company. It's really diversified its portfolio. When we got our first contract here in the 2005 timeframe, it was known as Jacobs Sverdrup, and was really focused on the aerospace industry and really started to push into NASA as a major customer. So we were one of the first Jacobs entities to land a major contract like Johnson Space Center had for their engineering and science services. And then since then, Jacobs has done nothing but grow, on Wall Street, and now in the last 5 or 10 years, really looking for that community connection, a lot of investment and future work looking in industries like water reclamation, environmental, global climate change, those types of things is a lot of the projects they're looking at to help company or governments, other countries, industry, military, whatever it is, in those type of solutions. And then again, on the IT side, they've acquired several IT companies over the years to really put an emphasis on IT solutions. And so, here at Johnson Space Center, when we came in, it's classic engineering services. Built at the time, it was space shuttle, space station, that type of thing. Since then, now we're going back to the moon and things like that. So it's a workforce of a lot of engineers, scientists, facilities, technicians that are doing all the work over there on site at Johnson Space Center to accomplish NASA's goals. And we're proud to be a part of the NASA community and the fellow contractor community here.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point that I think can help our small businesses as well as other businesses. And you're talking about how Jacobs is continually reinventing itself and looking for opportunities. And small businesses need to have that same mindset these days if they want to survive. And you guys, you don't just talk about being part of the community. I chair the new teachers luncheon, and you guys are a big supporter. But the best part of that is you guys bring the moon rocks, and people don't realize that you guys are in charge of curating those. And that's kind of a special thing to our area that not everybody gets to experience. Tell us about that division. They seem really invested in bringing science to the community.
Absolutely. They're at the really forefront, as you touched on, of getting the education out there, the outreach that NASA sometimes struggles to get out of its own way to do. They kind of, the brand sells itself, but at the same time, we we recognize the need to actively go out into the community. And so we have a group of scientists, about 150, 200 folks that work in our science group, and they curate the moon rocks back to the Apollo days. Recently, they even took a core sample back from those days that they'd left pristine for all these years, 50 years, with the idea that if we save it 50 years from now, we'll have better technology to break it up, study it, et cetera. We want to keep this pristine sample. So that was a major endeavor, and there's been some folks that have been here since those days, that have been here when the first moon rocks came back in the late 60s and early 70s, that have been involved that long, and they're very proud of their work. They've worked for different contractors, and now that Jacobs owns that piece of work, they're working for us. And it's really neat to talk and interact with them, because many of them are world-class scientists that you see on TV shows, write major papers, discover new minerals and things like that when they're studying rocks that come back from space that are literally the origin of the solar system and potentially the universe. And there's so much more to learn in that arena. And that here we are, Jacobs, with that core competency that we're offering that. And then they take that, and they have a part of them that does that outreach piece that, of course, the new teachers luncheon is a big part of it, because that's really the way to get to the kids the quickest, to those that influence kids and decisions and STEM and all that the quickest. And they do a wonderful job of having programs from small classroom to wide, hundreds of people attending, and they can formulate it. And so when we do the luncheon, we love to have our exhibit table set up and have the moon rocks, and it's typically one of the more popular exhibits there for the new teachers that are coming here, maybe teaching for the first time, and new to the area even, and being able to really start to understand what the space program means to this area, and companies like Jacobs are able to bring that to them.
Yeah, and I think if you've lived here too long, you probably take stuff like that for granted. Like, oh yeah, I grew up around astronauts, everybody. But, for people, it's a great way to entice them to come into the community, because for them, it's very new and unique. Just like the moon rocks, at the new teachers luncheon. That's not an experience you're going to get everywhere. But you guys seem particularly involved with the chamber, and tell me about your chamber involvement, because you guys seem to have a lot of fun with that, but there's purpose behind it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacobs, is one of its tenets going back to when we first came here, wants to get involved in the community. It's the thing we're proud of. We want to have people recognize our name when they drive down the street and past our building. And so the chamber seemed like a great way to do that with all the different industries here. We like to think most people know our names in the aerospace industry, particularly at Johnson Space Center. But if you look at other industries like the banking industry, the oil industry, energy, roads, things like that Jacobs may not understand what we do. So it's really a way to connect and bring that message, as well as advancing NASA's message. There's other contractors as well, like Boeing is a major contributor, and we partner with them. They're actually partners on our contract here at Johnson Space Center to bring that industry piece, that NASA has their public affairs office piece, and we can partner with them to bring the message, like you said, to the folks that either take it for granted, have been here so long, aren't interested, or aren't seeing it. Well, here we are to do that. And we're also major contributors, and have had board members for Space Center Houston, because that's a major outreach piece of the space program. So we like to be involved in that as well. So between those two and other organizations, it's just a way for Jacobs to do a little bit more than just do the job that we're asked to do, and really represent our industry in our local community.
So, we talked about small businesses need to be, learning from big companies like yours that are always reinventing themselves. You guys actually have a program where you mentor smaller businesses. Tell me about that program, please.
Absolutely. Part of our arrangement with our core contract is partnering with small services businesses in this area. Many of them are members of the chamber, like Barrios and MRI, that we have one workforce of multiple companies that work together. And part of that arrangement is through the Government and Small Business Administration. They offer us the opportunity to formally mentor small businesses to get them to the next level. Maybe they started out as a company of 20, 30 people, but when you start to grow to a certain point, you need help in functions like HR, accounting, finance, quality management systems, things like that, in addition to the technical mentorship. And so what we do is we partner with them through this program, and it's a 3-year arrangement, so it's not just come in for a few months and help them, but it's a 3-year program where they define what they'd like to do. We find subject matter experts in our organization that can then go and help them foster these skills, bring our talents and experience, And we've seen companies grow immensely after these things, where they go from being a small contributor on a large contract to winning their own contracts themselves. And that's something that Jacobs takes pride in. We've won several recognitions from NASA and Johnson Space Center on our Mentor Protege program, because we're very experienced at it, we know what we're doing, and we really want to help these businesses move to the next level. Somebody somewhere along the way helped Jacobs get there when they were a smaller company, and so it's part of what we do and kind of the core of what we represent in helping our small business partners.
Kind of that a rising tide lifts all ships.
Absolutely. Yep. That's us.
Awesome. So let's say I have a company that's burgeoning. How would I get in touch with Jacobs to see if it's a good fit for a mentorship?
Yeah, the way it typically works is as we're working with smaller companies, we'll let them know about the program and our experience with it, and then they go through the Small Business Administration, I think, through the government to apply for these slots. And I'm not sure exactly how that worked, but we help them, we show them where the door is, then they can walk in the door, and then we go behind, and then we can help them.
Awesome. Help
them along the way.
Good deal. So before we part, anything else you want the audience to know about Jacobs, or anything else?
No, we're so proud to work here, proud to have been here for so long. It's fun to go to work every day. We love our mission. It's been a challenging couple of years, not only with the pandemic, but before that with the ramp down of space shuttle and the uncertainty of what the next missions are. But we've really got a lot of momentum right now, and we're helping the commercial companies with their launches. We're right in line doing the testing in NASA's facilities and labs with them, and so it's really worked out well. Jacobs in the space industry is really poised for some exciting times in the next 10, 15, 20 years, where we're going to see the next man and first woman on the moon. And then that's going to be something for our generation that may have been too young to see it. That's something really exciting.
Yeah, great.
The Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce is proud to produce Leadership Clear Lake every other year. It's important that everyone excel, not only professionally, but personally. This August, we'll be starting our next class of Leadership Clear Lake, and all chamber members can be a part of it. Call the chamber now at 281-488-7676, or look at our website, www.clearlakearea.com, for more information.